Thank you for listening to SSB Wannabes. Make sure you keep up to date by following us on Twitter at SSB_Wannabes with 1E. Sometimes our schedule gets the best of us and we can't record when we want to, so keep your eyes on Twitter and you'll always know when the new episode is up. Anyway, enjoy the show.
SSB Wannabes, episode 23. My name is JD.
Yo, this is Wassabi, aka Will. What's up?
Yeah, man, how you doing?
I'm good. You know, it's been a really fun week. I mean, we haven't talked in a while. I mean, I guess we talked last week.
The timings of how long we've talked and how long the episodes are, and the time in between, it's all messed up. But yeah, it's been a bit. Not the most active from me. So actually, I kind of want to lead off because of that.
Okay, yeah,
it's gonna be hard to follow because you have actual stuff to talk about. But yeah, things kind of have been up and down, but I was able to kind of recover from like a downswing, emotional downswing, but really just like, I think what happened was a few weeks ago I brought up this new opportunity with Dignitas, and I haven't broke it to the people that are working with me, but I think I'm just gonna bail on it. It was just like a trial run. Like there was no hard commitment or anything, so it's not like I'm screwing them over. But essentially, there's a lot of reasons for it, and I don't want to sound like I'm kind of lazy or anything, but I just took on too much, you know? And that's definitely one of my problems that I always have, is that whenever just to talk a little bit about it,
go into it, dude.
Yeah, so the offer was, like, they did a post on Twitter, and I like reached out, and then we DM'd a little bit. And they offered to let me write a few articles for them to be posted on the website if they were approved. And if 3 were approved in 6 weeks, then I would be accepted into like an internship program, which is pretty much I would just write for them, get some exposure, get some practice, all that. So it felt like a really good opportunity, and it still would be. But when I was writing it, I found my stress levels just kind of shooting through the roof. And so a couple weeks in, I was writing about Hex's nightclub, but then it was still developing story, so I couldn't finish it. Then I was writing this other thing, but I had to do, I had this pretty much just shot my cortisol through the roof. And it was kind of an exercise in having to cut down what I was doing for myself and what I was doing for like the idea of what's the right thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It felt more like intellectually the right thing to do, and when I decided I didn't want to do it anymore and I was going to quit, like the relief was just so undeniable. It was like immediate, and then I was able to put in perspective all the other things that I'm doing, which is, still practicing every day, this podcast, so, and working full time and all that other nonsense. So it feels good to be able to like quit something without all the guilt afterwards. Like a good quit.
Yeah, I think like it's perfectly natural. Like we're in a sort of age where it's all about like the hustle, and hustle culture is like very prominent in like social media and the people that we follow and stuff like that. So I don't think it's bad. I think you just, I'm happy that you kind of came to the conclusion, because you went out and tried it and you realized like it wasn't for you. And right. I think that's like as best as you could have gotten out of the experience, like I think you realize that like that might not be the path that you want to take in terms of like how you want to get there.
Right. And I found myself at certain points falling into that trap of like the hustle culture kind of talking points of like, you can't miss up this opportunity. This is so good for your career. Like, you're going to regret not doing this. And I'm happy that I only spent, maybe half a week feeling that way because it was originally like actual stress, and I actually did do some writing. None of it's going to be featured, but I could see myself finishing the articles and just posting it for fun. Like, it's not like I wasted that much time. I just realized that I was convincing myself of the importance of something when in reality, like, if I get an article on Dignitas's website, like, that's not going to change the trajectory of my life, you know? Like, it's not as big of a deal as I was making it out to be. So I'm just happy that I've come to a place where I can kind of recognize early on, okay, I tried something. It's not for me, you know, not the type of thing
no,
I'm trying to do.
that's the best thing. And I think you're, you know, like J-Mook said it in your like 1v1 interview with him, but like you're a really good person. Like one of your best traits is that like you listen to yourself a lot and like you really go with that gut feeling. And so I think it's just like sort of like a natural sort of thing, because like at least talking to you from like a outside perspective, like you definitely seem it's not, I wouldn't say unhappy writing it, but like you just seem so like stretched so thin that I was actually curious to see what would give, you know?
Right.
And like we had to talk about that, but like, you know, I think knowing as much as like, so like, you know the quote, like, is it Ben Franklin who said know thyself? You're right.
Maybe.
That's like a well, it's so what it is. It's actually my college's quote. But what I think about that, like everyone's like, oh, you should like know. Oh, it's a Greek thing. Okay, never mind. But fuck, I suck at history. But back to the thing, it's my school motto. But I, you know, thinking about it after graduating, it's like not just about like knowing like what you're good at and what not, right? Like I think it's also just a lot of it about knowing yourself is admitting your weaknesses and admitting what isn't working for you, right? And I think that takes way more strength than actually being like, oh, I'm good at this, let me just do this, you know? I think it takes greater strength to sort of see that like, you know what, like this isn't for me, let me just drop it. And like that's really hard. So I'm kind of happy for you.
Yeah. And honestly, I think so. Let's say when we first started this podcast, the first couple of weeks, it was really stressing me out. It wasn't, but let's say it was.
Yeah.
I would hope
it wasn't.
I would hope that if it was a huge stress, even when like things went wrong, like technical problems, it never felt the same way that writing 3 articles felt. You know, like and just that difference, I think it helped me put into perspective, like, yeah, I've taken on new projects before. I've tried, you know, new advances and all this stuff. And when things feel right, it's a lot more clear.
Yeah.
And a lot more obvious, like, okay, I could keep this. Like, I could build this machine, but if one part starts, you know, malfunctioning, I don't want the whole machine to go down. I just, okay, this extra feature can go away. I don't need to be a intern for a esports company. I'll be fine. Yeah,
exactly. And you still have your own blog, and you're putting in like an extra shift in terms of like our podcast. Like at this point, we're kind of releasing like maybe 2 episodes, you know, a week, or you know, 3 episodes like every 2 weeks or something like that. Like we're definitely putting in extra time with the new series.
Yeah,
like you've been putting in a lot of work, honestly, about that.
It's starting to be really exciting and fun, because this is something we both wanted to talk about, so let's just jump into it. The 1v1 series, we've both done a few, and it's like, it's pretty great. I really enjoy getting to really talk with these people, and I think we've set up kind of between you and I, like the conversations me and you have are really like a couple more layers deep than what we're talking than what we normally talk with people like at tournaments or whatever. So having that as the backdrop, bringing people in and being like, yo, this is the stuff we're talking about. I think a lot of these guys are hungry for that kind of conversation, and they're really excited to dive in to mindset and happiness and like these bigger questions.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's almost universal, and that's sort of what like we've been doing with ourselves. Like we're just sort of replicating what we're doing with ourselves, but extending it, and that's been really cool too. Like, it's in the end, it's just we're talking with people that love Melee and talk about the struggle of trying to be a Melee player.
Right.
And like I remember talking with it will be out by the time people hear this, but like talking with Tiramisu for our interview, like he was just like, man, dude, like I was looking forward to this like for like the whole week, and it's because like similar to you, it's like at nationals we get to talk and we like talk for 20 minutes and it's like we got to talk more, but like nothing beats like a text or whatever, nothing beats just like a full-blown like sitting down with an hour and really getting to know someone on like a very personal level in a Melee sense,
Oh yeah. And I already, like, the 3 people I've talked to, I'm looking forward to when we run out of people so I could talk to them again, because it was a lot of fun. But especially this last one, I just talked to Get a War Machine, another New England Fox.
Yeah, shouts to Jesse.
Yeah.
Belated happy birthday.
For real. That guy probably tore it up. But he had I feel like he had all these thoughts that he's been keeping in that I don't know the last time he could have this type of conversation, either because like it's with people who play Melee, and whenever you're around people that play Melee, like talking about it's great, but you just want to play. Like it's so much just like you'll go outside, you'll take a breather, and by taking a breather I mean smoking, but and then you'll talk for like 15 minutes, and then you'll just look at him and be like, yo, you trying to play right now? And then that's like, conversation over at 15 minutes. So it's nice just having these people on. I feel like there's so much more out there. People just like with their own very unique perspectives, their own stories. He had some stories, man, let me tell you.
Dude, I can't wait till that interview drops. I can't wait to quality check that.
Yeah, there's some good shit out there.
Yeah, it's almost like sort of bringing up this idea that like I've talked with like Panos a lot about, where through Melee a lot of the time it's like, and I like it because the conversation sort of bridges the gap a little bit more, where might know someone in Melee, but you might not actually know about like their life at all, right? Like I know, like some people might know you or might know me as Wassabi, but like do they know Will, right? And I feel like this conversation almost bridges that, because a lot of like their experiences, what shaped them as a person, is through Melee, and so it sort of helps like bridge that gap that we don't know. Like with Jmook, it's not that we just like learned about Jmook and what he is and that he plays Sheik. We learned about like Jake,
Yeah.
And I think that's really big in terms of for me, especially with Tiramisu, like, dude, like I learned about Max. Like I learned how Max worked, and what clicks for him, and that was an amazing conversation. I still can't wait for you to listen to it.
Yeah, I'm excited too, of course. And I think that a lot of these Melee players in particular, and I don't know a lot of other games that have the similarity to Melee in the sense where like your identity is kind of intertwined in everything, right? Like having your tag as a part of your identity, what tech and what certain things you like, the tiny micro situations that you'll go for over other people, like everything combined is this alter ego that's kind of a part of yourself at the same time. So it's really interesting kind of looking it the other way, like, okay, you got the gameplay, but now let's take all that away, keep it Melee focused, but kind of like, what's your upbringing, like what's it feel like because there's nothing game related, there's no coding in your head when you are processing a loss. The game is over, it's all human after you are getting top 10 in your region, like all this shit. And it's fascinating. I think this is going to be the next step in kind of realizing why we're doing this in the first place, like why it feels so right. I think we're just going to keep on meeting. And dude, next time I go to these majors, I just know that it's going to be that much more exciting to see these guys and to actually be like, dude, like, what is up? Not just like, yo, I know you, we've played, or, you know, you're from my region, what's going on? Like, how are you? Like,
We should honestly just do like bring a nice mic, open up a rack, and like just have a round table talking and hanging out about Melee and stuff. Like that would be so cool at a
yeah,
major.
why not? Why not? Hell yeah.
Yeah, like wouldn't that be super sick?
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Like,
We
and
need
you
a
know,
room
if
mic.
if it's good, we post it. If it's not, then
We post it anyway.
we post it anyway.
We just don't advertise.
Yeah.
I'm
But
down,
yeah,
man.
it's such a sick thing. I'm really happy that we started doing this 1v1 series, because also it's like talking with them, and I think we were talking about this, is that like sometimes it's like it's so different from the way we talk with each other, because like
Yep.
they might not have as much like time on the mic, and like they want to know about us too. And that was like the biggest surprise I had talking with Tiramisu, was just like sometimes I'm like, whoa, are you interviewing me? But
Yep.
like that's the cool
Yep.
thing, is that like I told stories that like I haven't even told, like we haven't gotten to with, you know, our stuff, with our talks, you know, because
Right.
we do it on such a week by week basis, that like the 1v1 sort of bring up like tiramisu. And I'm not gonna answer it on here, but he asked me like, was there a defining moment in Melee that you'll like kind of never forget for yourself? And like we never got to that ever. And like talking with him, he was just so curious about it, so we talked, you know, 20 minutes about that. And you know, for me it's a really emotional thing what I said, but like yeah, like it's like so cool that like, you know, it's also another way to like learn about us.
Right. Yo, how funny would it be if Tiramisu and Get a War Machine started a podcast?
Oh my god, I would love that. I would love that.
Dude, I would eat that up.
Yeah.
But then we would do the New England New York perfect rivalry, all 4 Fox players. It would be like, oh, chef's kiss.
We'd
Perfect.
chef them though. We'd cook them.
Oh, you think so? In
Okay.
terms of podcasting?
Having a podcast, I trust us. We'd
Right.
cook them.
All right.
Uh,
We have a lead.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was really fun because yes, it was, so I interviewed Get a War Machine yesterday, and we actually played some net play. First time playing net play at my new house with my new monitor. Dude, new monitor,
Yeah.
changes everything.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting a monitor. I'm getting a new PC in 2 weeks, so
2
We'll
weeks,
be able
hell
to-
yeah. I'm down. It just was such a different experience than before. It's obviously like still net play. It's not perfect. Never will
close.
be.
you'll
But
be ready for the Hax's nightclub.
hopefully there's no input delay or any lag or anything like that. I know they fixed a lot of things.
Yeah, it was feeling good when I tested it out one day.
That's great. That's really great. I don't want to talk about that. We spent all episode talking.
Yeah.
Maybe next week once.
You want me
once
to tell
we
you
do
about
a real one.
my week, I guess?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, so, right, we're talking like we're living in the post Wassabi pop off like world now, right?
Yes.
And I think, truth be told, I was kind of a little worried. Like I was worried if it would be like a one-off or anything like that, you know. And so, you know, it's hard, right? Like you have one of those groundbreaking things, and it's like, you know, like I hope this isn't just like the only one, right? Like this
Right.
shouldn't. This is the start, and we were talking about that in our last episode. Like this is preseason. This isn't even season yet, right?
Right. But then you
and-
gotta fight the fluke.
Yeah. And so I went to, you know, almost to challenge my fears, I went to Spectrum on last Monday, during that awful storm in New York.
Mhm.
And so I played, and I actually beat, you know, I beat Panos again, you know, in a really tight set. Like honestly, like two interactions went my way, kind of thing. But you know, closed it, and then I beat Flex for the first time. I beat J Flex for the
Yo.
first time,
Now you are a good player. You've made it.
and that was I was really happy with that, because one, it's so tough to beat Flex, and two is that game 2 I kind of won off of like a scramble and then side B turnaround up smash sort of thing, and then going to game 3 I was like, you know, I always run away from Flex. Like I always like and that's where he gets me. Like I have to, and it's same thing as I did in Hacks Nightclub, where I'm like, I have to go in. Like I have to take this momentum right now, right? Like I clutched out game 2. I have to take this momentum, and I like open it up with like a 0 to death.
Whew.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I was really happy, and so I actually finished 3rd. I lost to Itai, and I lost to Fable. And Fable, honestly, like I lost 3-1, but like it was so doable. I actually SD'd last stock game 1 because I jumped for like he was off stage. I jumped to grab ledge, but I didn't realize I was facing the wrong way.
Nope.
Yeah, so I got pineappled on Dreamland, and then game 2 I missed like 2 up throw. I like tried to up throw up pair him on an FD, and I missed 2 dash inputs. So I think I was just like kind of like, you know, my execution kind of let me down, but I'm really still confident with the gameplay, and like obviously I would have loved to take that, but you know I think still a good job done, you know.
So is Itai going Fox now?
Yeah, Itai's going Fox now.
Full Fox.
Full Fox.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah, I would assume he's getting results all over the place.
Yeah.
Just to clear one thing up for listeners, Flex is J Flex.
Yes.
And yeah, he's been someone I've never been able to beat. He always kind of thrashes me, so I'm looking at you with awe. Definitely a good win, and it sucks that you lost to Fable in that way, like the execution thing. I remember you tweeting about kind of being a little fatigued, a little out of energy by that time. Was that correct, or am I mistaken?
Yeah, I mean, like, I was still playing really well. Like, I actually had a really big lead game 1, and he brought it back. So, I think, but yeah, like, I mean, I shouldn't be missing those, and I'm not worried that I'll miss it again, is sort of where I'm at, you know?
Gotcha.
Like, those are easy fixes, and it's unfortunate, but, like, it's not something worth obsessing over, you know?
Cool.
And then I went to Gigahog, you know, that Saturday. And I had a little more. I got 5th, losing to 1st and 2nd place, which was Hacks and Joy Boy. So a little tough tournament for me.
Hacks
but
and Joy Boy.
Yeah, I know.
That's damn.
Yeah. So, but you know, I think I have both of it recorded, so I think I can just. I have to study up on those two for sure.
Any notable wins?
Yeah, so I beat Warmer actually.
Nice.
And this is like, I think we've done so many money matches, but I think this is the first time I beat him in tournament, and it was like a game 5, really really tense situation, last stock sort of thing. So again, I'm like, I don't think I played the greatest, honestly. And that's not like to downplay it. I'm just saying, like, I think there was like, I know, like, there are definitely spots I need to improve on, is what I mean, you know?
Right.
But I'm happy that I still, like, closed it out. And so I can't complain, you know? Like, you know, obviously I want more, and I was playing well against Hacks. Like, it was both last stock on Battlefield. I kind of got FD'd by him, but overall, like, you know, what I studied from our last set was working. I just need to clean it up more. But overall, I've been really happy with how I've been playing. I think the weirdest thing now, right, and this is what I kind of wanted to bring onto the podcast, was that, like, you know, I'm talking with Justin, and depending on, like, how big the Tri-State PR will be, you know, I have a case.
Oh my God, definitely.
I have a case, but it's really hard because there's so many other players with cases, from a lot of it from New Jersey, because that's just where Jersey's just the hotness right now.
It's true.
And, you know, like players like Clutch have, like, Slocks and Lint wins and a Zealous win and a Swooper win. Like, it's so crazy, right? So I might get edged out. I might not. Like, but you know, over this week, like Sunday I just went to the beach, but talking with Justin on Sunday about it, I started getting really worried, like wondering, like, if I can make it, and like, because I really would just love to make Tri-State, right? Like, that's the next goal. That's the goal that's in front of me. I'm not thinking about MIOM or anything, right?
Right.
But then I was talking with Hacks over some beers on Monday, and we were talking about, like, what makes a good player, and you know, and we were talking about, like, you know, I think Hacks is someone that will always just give it to me straight, you know, and we're talking about, like, what should be valued more, peak wins versus consistency and stuff like that. And talking with him and hearing him be like, like there are 3 things that like are make you a good player. Like you're improving faster than everyone else. Like you don't really plateau as much. Like by that he meant like you when you play, you know what you did wrong and you can find answers to what you did wrong. But another thing is that you're playing for your gameplay, not for your results. And sort of hearing that as a reminder really helped sort of reset me,
Yeah.
And I realized like I've been really happy with my gameplay, and whether I make the Tri-State PR or not, I should be really happy with how I've been playing.
Yeah, making a PR is such an interesting dynamic, because I think everyone, when you ask them 2 months from when the PR is done, like, nah, I'm not going to think about it, I don't care, because that's kind of the right thing. That's like the right approach, right? It's like, don't care about your results. But shit, it's really hard to not think about it.
Especially with a month left.
Yeah, so as it comes closing in, like, I don't blame you at all for having that come to the forefront of your mind, and it's a really strange thing you have to do mentally to kind of recognize what's like those thoughts, but then dismiss them. It's a constant battle. It's really like
and it's almost weird because the Hacks nightclub would, I think, put me over, honestly. The Hacks nightclub results would have put me over.
Yeah.
So it's sort of this weird thing. But I think my biggest gripe with it, if I had to be honest, is that like I'm so proud of how I played this season.
Right. That
I want it to be represented in some way. And I think that's like, I'm catching myself like that. And it's hard to tell myself that, like, it's sort of hard to tell yourself that, right? That you might not get recognized for it. And that's a little scary.
It's right, but it's also not like getting recognized. Like the only way, it's not that the only way to get recognized is being on a PR, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, okay. When people break down like the spreadsheets and all the wins and decide who goes where, that's like an objective, like this person belongs here. Mm-hmm. So that is out of your control. But being like, if you distill it as to what do you want, I think you'll find that it's all that can be accomplished irrelevant of where you end up on the PR. Like if you really understand, like, is it being recognized? Is it having kind of something to show yourself that you've improved? Is it something to show other people, or show people that don't play the game that you could point to and say, hey, I'm this number in New York City? That's what it was for me. And that's not the most noble reason to want to be on a power ranking, but what made me most proud when I made it however many seasons ago was that I could show other people that don't understand Melee and say, this is where I'm at, or New York City, this is where I'm at in New York City, or this is where I'm at Tri-State. So whatever it is for you, if you just look to see what actually matters to you, do you need to make a Tri-State PR for that to count for you? And I don't have the answer.
Yeah, I think it almost feels like, I think that's definitely true. Trying to figure that out, and I'm just in such a weird place now where I didn't even think I would be. I didn't think it, but I've just been really improving as a player, and that's showing. And I think it's almost that I don't want to forget about that. Like that. Like I've had such great moments that like. I don't want to forget about it, but there's going to be so many more moments for me moving forward, Right. And I think that's something that I have to realize. I think also it's sort of feeling like, it's really hard to say, honestly. I think the feeling was definitely a lot stronger on Sunday than it is now, since I've talked to Hacks and I've had time to think about it and stuff like that, Mm-hmm. But I just wanna. I think I am part of that group. That's the thing. And whether or not I'm on it or not, I'll still think that, actually.
Good.
Like there's no difference from like the people there than like it is,
It's just as good of a feeling looking at a power ranking and saying I have wins on this person, this person, this person, positive records on 5. Like, you have the results to back up yourself, to look back and say, okay, I can do this. So I think whether or not that gets reflected, that's like an extra degree of things that are outside your control. You can't control how well you can't control how well Clutch is doing, you know?
Yeah.
You can't control how if Warmer's going to edge you out, or Big Kid, or all these guys that are kind of fighting for those 10 spots, 5 spots, whatever it may be. But what you can control, that's where we're at with this conversation. That's where we always kind of land on, and I'm happy that I don't sense any bit of like guilting yourself over your mindset, saying like I shouldn't be thinking, like you're not berating yourself for wanting to be on the PR. You're just recognizing it and saying, this is something I really want, but I'm glad that I got to kind of, think about it and realize why that's not something to obsess over. So I think you've just made enough progress where there's not even too much, like I'm just straight up not worried about you at all. It's so sick having you like go through all these all these ups, like because I've seen all the work that you're putting in, and I hope that you kind of recognize, like put those dots together, where if you didn't do that work, you wouldn't be in this
position.
Spot.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I think why I'm bringing it up is like just being honest with myself about, like I don't want to shortchange my feelings about it, and I think accepting that it is something that's big to me. Like I don't want to I don't want to lie to myself and say like it doesn't matter, because it clearly does, But I think it's about moving after that, and it's like, so what are you gonna do now, right? And I think that's super important during ranking season. I mean, like the summer rankings are coming out now too, and talking with Hacks, he's just like, yeah, like I think I'm in a position where like, that you're like I think I'm like super underrated in this ranking period, but like whatever, like let me just show that. And I think that's a real sign of a competitor. And like Hacks is like honestly like the most exaggerated version of that, right?
Right. For sure. I mean, because he's been all over the place. He was number 6 in the world,
Yeah.
So he's
or
definitely
8. I just want to correct you before we get flamed.
Are you sure it wasn't 6?
I think it's 8.
Bro, I'm very certain. 20? I'll look it up right now.
I'll put a 20 on it.
You want to put $20 on it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'll put $20. In 2013, he was.
Can't be 6. I'm pretty
what
sure.
Up? Oh, yes.
Is it 6?
It's number 6.
Fuck. We didn't shake hands.
Fuck out of here. Are you serious?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna Venmo you. I hate you.
Yeah. Oh, mama. Yeah, dude.
Okay. 6. Fuck, I'm Venmoing you now.
Wow, that's the easiest $20 I've ever made in my life. Anyway, so he's a dude who's been like top 10.
I hate you. Stop laughing. I'm cutting this.
Been at least 8. And so he understands, like he gets all types of every angle of this, like how much it matters. And so that's like a perspective that is really difficult to kind of, to replicate. It's really hard to kind of instill that in someone else.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, don't worry about this ranking. It'll come up next one. Also the time frame of it, like when you play that long, one summer rank is not a make or break. Mm-hmm. So, I think just like whenever the anxiety comes up, just try not to overreact to it. If it comes up in tournament, I would actually be surprised if that happened to you. If like tri-state rankings came up over just normal anxiety, like I want to get this win. So realistically, it's not anything to be like wanting to be on a rank on a PR is not and I think I'm more talking to other people now than
Mm-hmm.
than you, because I think you get it. But wanting to be on a power ranking is not a weakness, you know. Um, Wanting to be recognized for the work that you're putting in, or the wins you're getting, or the influence you have on a region, especially your region where you represent or you want to represent everyone else. There's no shame in making a goal.
Yeah,
Like,
I do want to rep
you know,
Tri-State for sure.
yeah, yeah. So it's a fun it's a fun problem to have also, because not a lot of people are even in contention, you know, by virtue of just the rankings. If there's only 20 spots or 15 spots, there's hundreds of spots that are just not even being considered. So it's a really unique position that can kind of be enjoyed, because I think the adversity of coming out, if you don't make it, it's like almost making a power ranking and then not making it versus making it are two very inspiring things, both, you know. So I think if you just kind of sit with it and don't have like a grand exodus of like I shouldn't think about this anymore, as long as you actually be honest with yourself and just keep doing the work and keep, you know, fighting for it, then no matter what happens, it's going to be a worthwhile experience in the long term. So have fun, man, and keep going to fucking 2 tournaments a week. You kidding me?
I know,
You're crushing it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm thinking, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and beat Itai, dude.
I know, I gotta do that.
I don't know where that guy came from. Who goes Puff Fox and then starts kicking ass as Fox?
Mango.
Shit.
You're
right.
That's
So
right.
I owe you $20 now.
That's right. Yeah, give me back my 20. Give me back my fucking 20. Oh, I Venmo'd you, by the way.
Hell yeah, you did.
All right, dude. Like, I'm kind of tired, so why don't we call it here?
Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm kind of out of stuff.
Yeah, it's getting kind of late, so, and I gotta work tomorrow. So, I'll talk to you next week, dude.
Yeah, word.
All right,
Talk to you
peace.
later. See ya.